So we stand in front of Dollar Tree and basically,
such as this thing here.
all right, I'm excited to have a guest.
A piece of metal right here, poison. Everyone is. Cuba is like they're under a dictator. All right, we are live for a Tuesday edition of the People's Talk Show. And as always, never a dull moment, lots of things worth talking about. And I'm excited to connect just because it's another day to be grateful and just be thankful for all the blessings we have at this current point in time in history. And wow, so today, once again, some figures come out from the Federal Reserve or from the government statistics, leave it at that. And of course, no surprise whatsoever. There's no going back to that 2-point mandate target for inflation no time soon. And so definitely the markets reacted, I guess, in according to expectations. But what was also surprising is the slam down in the metals market along with that. And so we're going to talk about that, a couple other things as well. And, I think what could end up being a iffy situation heading into spring is this potential airline strike that might, set to start today, but then again, didn't see much other than just talks of what could come. But then again, it brought back to mind an event that occurred about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, and that was the railroad strike and how that literally, at that time, if the trains would have stopped, could have brought our country to a halt. And so the president had to step in. And so could it be something similar to that happening with the airlines? We'll see. But too early to tell, but we'll go through some of that as well. And I got maybe 7, 8, 9 tabs open altogether of things that caught my attention. And so I'm looking forward to finding out what you guys have been keeping your eyes on. And so before I move forward, let me make sure everything is flowing smoothly. Let me know via the chat if the audio is good and video is good. And if you have not already, hit that thumbs up button. Show your love for the channel. I want to definitely make sure that everyone has a chance to contribute to the success of Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. So I appreciate you guys, man. All right, so I'm going to go through the headlines, just get straight to the point, a lot of things, share my 2 cents on it, open up the phone lines, and hear what you guys have to say, and then we'll call it short. And so trying to condense everything to make sure it's compact, tight, and loaded with great content. And so we're going to do that this evening. But before I do that, I got to always big up my people, man, at 4 Patriots for blessing me, as well as giving you guys an opportunity to get your prep game up as well. So let's jump into that. I'm going to share with you just some information here. Then we get into the headlines and then keep it moving forward. Let me shout out my people at 4patriots.com for supporting the channel, as well as providing the community a chance to get their preparedness game up in real time. So the goal is, of course, to encourage people to be ready for anything at any time. Because at this current moment, some people are actually scared that they may not have enough food or electricity when the lights go out. That's why I'm going to continue to encourage people. If you haven't already, make sure you check out 4patriots.com/RTD, where you get a chance to get things that will help you be ready when, not if, things hit the fan. As you can see here, they got a variety of products to meet your every need, so you'll always be prepared for whatever comes next. And one of the products that's getting a lot of attention nowadays happens to be Patriot Power Generator 2000X, which can be a great emergency backup if you don't have one already. And while you're at it, you should take advantage of 4 Patriot's best-selling food kits. It comes in a variety of assortments when you need them, and also got a 25-year shelf life. And surprisingly enough, as more meat processing plants go offline, these kits offer real that can come in handy. I've been very fortunate to have them support the channel because it's something I take advantage of myself. So if you want to find out more, go to 4patriots.com/RTD, which is a special page which shows you their weekly deals and discounts. So definitely check them out by getting your calories up and also supporting the channel. Appreciate you. Let's get into some news. All right, let's jump right into the news, my good people. So CPI year over year, it's once again, it's just, I don't really, I mean, of course it is important, but then it's not. I don't have any expectations whatsoever that there'll be any type of cure to the ails of this monetary structure. But 2.9 was the forecast, came in at 3.1. And of course, people were not shocked, to say the least. And then what's caught my attention more so was the metals action. Look at that. We got silver down to 20.08 as we speak, and gold under 1900. And so, as I always say, make manipulation your best friend and take advantage of the opportunities as they present themselves. So, just something right there that, we'll definitely hear more about that. But they can only press it down so much before they can't any longer. And so, let me get into some pressing news as of today, man, last hour or so. So, it looks like the DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas has officially been impeached by the U.S. House of Representatives over, quote, willful and systemic refusal to comply with the law and the breach of public trust. And so he was voted out by the House today. And so I'm assuming, and I don't follow the legal game too much, but I'm assuming that when he hit that gavel, that pretty much made it official. So we'll see what the response is in the political sphere as days move forward. But underneath this little video here is just this gentleman here who posted this in reference to a testimonial that the former Secretary Alejandro gave. He says, not only should DHS Secretary Alejandro be impeached, but it should be referred for persecution for perjury. And then it quotes him saying here, it is my testimony that our borders are secure. And so he said it's a provable lie. So once again, I doubt they go that far. There's no punishment for criminals when the justice system in itself is a criminal organization that oversees them. So, yeah. But once again, for the political sphere, it's interesting to see that there is a little bit of a pushback. But at this point, it's several years in the making. So it's like, okay, why they wait so damn late? But anyway, keep it moving. Yeah, more inflation. I can read that, but I won't bore you guys. Let me get into something that did catch my attention that is definitely worth talking about just because it resembles the railroad strike. It potentially could resemble the railroad strike. And so here it's going to be historic. U.S. flight attendants picket at major airports. And so as of right now in the Twitter sphere, I'm not sure if there's much activity, but it starts today. So we'll see how far it goes. And if it goes to the point where like planes are grounded due to the fact that there's a shortage of staff, that could definitely be a problem for our country, just because that's another method in which transportation operates in our country between the trucks, the railroads, and the flights. I mean, that's how things get done these days. And if flights was a stop, that'd definitely cause some problems. But once again, it's the case of flight attendants being overworked, underpaid, and the consequences and side effects of this monetary distortion that we live in, where their costs go up, but their pay doesn't. And therefore, there's a lot of complaints and expectations for what they hope to receive. But then again, we witnessed what happened when strikes come about, such as GM, such as UPS. You hit the line, you get offered more. The companies promise to pay you more, but then after the promises, they reshuffle the deck on you, and then they start laying off not too much longer after the fact. So it's one of the things you might want to be careful what you ask for. But then again, I understand the desire and need to earn more, especially if you're working hard. But given the environment we're in now, we're coming to the point where it's more so important to be grateful to even have a job, given the fact that this new economy that they're creating, employment is being reshaped, restructured, you name it, to where it won't be the same next year, 5 years, definitely 10 years from now. So, but I feel their pain. But then again, the pain they have now, they better be careful, because these unions, yeah, they'll definitely cause more harm than good. But I'll thumb through this real quick. Let me zoom in so you guys can see what I see here. And I'm curious to get your thoughts and your take on this, just because I think that this could end up resembling the other strikes, as I just mentioned. But I'll thumb through this and we'll keep it moving. It says flight attendants are holding picket protests at over 30 major airports across the U.S. on Tuesday as part of the worldwide Flight Attendant Day of Action. Look at that. That sounds like such a noble cause until it's not. It says picket line events are planned in New York City, Orlando, Miami, San Francisco, Charlotte, Washington, D.C., Dallas, Atlanta, Chicago, Boston, Cleveland, Las Vegas. And I was surprised that I didn't see Detroit in here. So I clicked on this little Twitter feed here. This gives you a little bit of a flyer as to what is happening as of now. And it says hashtag contract now. Flight attendants fight back. So I click on that. Let me see what else we got out here. So we got worldwide. So we got some people in Atlanta standing outside Atlanta airport. Not many people. We got some people here. Where are we at here? Flight back. It says F corporate greed. We got some people here in where we're looking at right here. This is Alaska. Alaska Air. It says flight attendants deserve fair contracts from Alaskan Air. So I'm not sure if that is Alaska directly, but yeah. And then we got people out here. What we got? Yeah. So people are out today expressing their displeasure. But then again, as I mentioned, be careful what you ask for, because you will get more pay. But then after that, they're going to be serving some pink slips. And what else we got here? It says here, some 100,000 flight attendants across 3 different labor unions are expected to protest. The protest comes as over 2/3 of flight attendants in the U.S. and gave a list all the airlines are currently in new union contract negotiations. And so, just to summarize a little bit and give you what the main bullets of the article is, I'll let good old ChatGPT do it for me. And so, ultimately, what does it get down to? A protest aimed at addressing issues like pay, retirement security, and working conditions, calls to end legacy sexism and recognize the true value of flight attendants' work. Strike authorizations voted overwhelmingly in favor by flight attendants at various airlines. So they want better pay, retirement security, and better working conditions. Now, all of those sound notable, sounds well worth the fight, but it's like retirement security. I mean, if the people really knew what was coming, and to play into this, the idea of security is no security in a fiat system, especially when they are scrambling to try to keep things afloat so that there's confidence remaining in the system in and of itself. And speaking of which, let me share with you a quick video that surfaced, looks like a snippet from the New Zealand House of Representatives in one of their financial committees, where they basically just point blank said how they're playing the people for a fool. Check this out real quick.
The fiscal challenges, etc., that are there. So very focused on being cost effective. We actually fund ourselves and then work out what dividend is needed to pay. So we kind of work, but it's a great business to be in, central banking. You print money and people believe it, and touch wood. And so it's a slightly different beast.
What a great job it is to be in, where we make money and people actually believe it. So yeah, we'll see, but we'll keep it moving. So they're just laughing in our faces. And so here's an article that I wanted to bring up just to go back in time to when we talked about this. Biden signs bill to block U.S. railroad strike. And so it was down to the 9th hour in December 2022, where we were talking about, literally if the train stopped rolling, food don't move, business stops, you name it. And the government stepped in. And they end up signing some things to keep things moving. Ain't heard about it since, so assuming they ironed out some things. But could this flight attendant situation, if it happens to advance, there's no negotiations, because you got 100,000 people, airlines that are already somewhat pinched on margin due to increased cost of fuel and all the other things, and a shortage of pilots due to the stuff that we all experience. So literally, I understand that corporations, they're getting paid, shareholders are getting paid, but you got to realize that your job is not in the business to make you wealthy. It's to make shareholders wealthy. Your job is to serve them. And if they give you bare minimum, that's not their fault. It's whatever, so you show up for whatever they give you. And that is how the system goes. That's called capitalism. But anyway, so point in case is, if it gets to a point where, it's far along in these negotiations, nothing looks like it's going to be brought to an agreement, then things shut down, planes don't move. That could definitely be a wrinkle in our economy on top of all the other things. So will the government step in? We'll have to wait and see. But, right now it's kind of early, but time will tell. Okay, keeping it moving. Here's an interesting article. This is an older one, but we talked about this, but there's been some recent developments. It says credit card companies abandon plan for code to identify gun store purchases. And this was fact checked back then when it first came out. Let me bring this up here again. And so this was back in last year, November 2023. We talked about this. And the rumors were circulating that there was no proof, and that, whoever started this was like misinformation, yada 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 yada, and so it just basically just got shot down. But then again, as of now, we got our first state. And so it says credit card companies will track gun store purchases in California using a new merchant code. So what was supposed to be misinformation a couple months ago, it was actually factual. It just wasn't rolled out officially yet nationwide, but they're starting in good old California. And so basically, if you use your credit card for metals, guns, anything that has to do with freedom, liberty, life, and the pursuit of happiness, you're going to have a code eventually. They're going to be tracked and traced, and they'll know how much, when, where. And it's just more of the totalitarian state that's being set up as we speak. So it shouldn't surprise anybody, but there's more information here. American Express, Visa, MasterCard will implement a new code for firearm and ammunition retailers, allowing banks to track suspicious purchases to comply with a new California law. And so a credit card company do not record at a SKU level, but they got a new code coming. So once again, shouldn't be surprised. Next one, Bidenomics, all job recovered post the health situation under Joe Biden went to foreign-born workers, including illegals. And so illegals, they come here with a promise to get a debit card, a phone, get a credit line. It says, per the Center for Immigration Studies, all employment growth has gone to the foreign-born. 183,000 fewer U.S.-born Americans are working than in 2019 before the health situation. Yet the number of immigrants working is up 2.9 million over 2019. And so this goes back well into the previous president's administration of foreigners coming into this country, being able to get some good paying jobs to chase that good old American dream. So shouldn't surprise anybody. And then here's an interesting one here. This is a really interesting one. New bill in Congress calls for creating children's saving accounts from birth. And so imagine cost of living, cost of raising a child becoming so expensive. They now want to make sure not only the kids born into the world with a debt, they want to try to offset that a little bit by giving them a children's 401k. And so I'll give you some details. It says building wealth may feel like a struggle for today's younger generation who grapple with the student loan balances and high home prices. A new bill introduced in Congress aims to make it so wealth creation starts from birth. The proposal called 401 Kids Saving Act is led by Democratic Senators Bob, Chuck, Ron, as well as Don, Joyce, and Suzanne of Washington. The plan calls for providing saving accounts for every child in the USA on state 529 college saving platforms, which could be managed by state treasurers. You got bankrupt states trying to hold on to funds for kids in a currency that's being debased massively. Accounts will be established for kids under age 18 and for newborns. So a 401k, kids. More than 80% of young adults ages 18 to 24 had less than $20,000 in wealth. Yeah. And so once again, you'll never be able to outsave the amount of currency creation that is and will be brought into existence this year and every year after this. We're already in the tipping phase. It's too late. And then another one. EU proposes sanctions on Chinese firms for helping Russia. Brussels wants to sanction companies in mainland China for the first time and other countries as war in Ukraine nears 2-year mark. So once again, these cats just love sanctions. And we know Putin made it clear. Sanctions only happen to shoot the issuer of those sanctions in the foot because the currency at that point is no longer valid to them. So it is basically saying they're trying to get rid of the euro. And then China's response, China opposes illegal sanctions after proposed EU trade curbs. It says China said it firmly opposes illegal sanctions in response to the European Union's proposal to impose trade restrictions on three Chinese firms as part of its efforts to hobble Russia's war efforts. So, yeah, I mean, you can't bite the hand that feeds you, but then again, they would do what they can when they can. That's just, some things that's happening in the news, man. But here we are. Nevertheless, it's that time to talk. And so there's a lot of other subjects, things that I couldn't get to, but hopefully you did. So feel free to throw out some stuff in the chat and we'll make it work. Loud. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for that love offering right there. Appreciate your support, my friend. So the phone lines are open. Give me a call. Let's talk. As I mentioned, the goal is to try to get as much done in a shorter amount of time. So I'm going to keep the phone lines open. As long as people call, we stay on. If you don't, we won't. Just because I noticed that, I don't like the idea of having too much dead air. And then my rants, once I get my main stories out, I'm usually good for the evening. So I had to get it off my chest. But I definitely want to connect with my people. So this is your time. I got to do a better job of making sure I give people enough time to get their voice heard. Let me get you on here. Forgive me. All right. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from? Hello? Going once, going twice. Anybody there? Let me get you on here. Hello?
Hello?
Hi there. How you doing? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Robert Christopher calling from Southern Illinois.
Rob from Southern Illinois. What's going on with you, my friend?
I was just thinking about the airline strike, the 100,000 strike. I remember as a kid, I remember Ronald Reagan, he fired like 1,100 airport traffic controllers during that their time. So I wonder if our president had that type of power, if the 100,000 people strike and they turn around and they fire all of them. You think that might be possible?
So I would consider this airline strike something of the nature of like national security, something to do with our national structure of our country, to where I don't think the government will be willing to allow it to come to a halt outright, barring some type of foreign excuse like a cyber attack or something like that. So my suspicion, especially heading to the presidential, election this year, they don't want any obvious hiccups. So literally it'll come down on Biden's head. So I think that they would step in worst case scenario and of course make some promises to reassure people that they can keep their job and, our economy is strong. So I don't see our government doing anything other than further damage by spending more to prop up the economy as best they can. So that's just my 2 cents there, man.
Okay, thank you. I just want to hear that. Awesome.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for calling in.
No problem.
Yeah, good stuff there. And speaking of which, I wasn't aware of the Ronald Reagan situation. So I thought I would just look that up. It says Reagan fires 11,000 striking air traffic controllers August 5th, 1981. Yeah, I was just a baby then. So I wasn't really thinking about hitting the sky, hitting the airways. But that's interesting. It says 2 days earlier, nearly 13,000 controlled walked out after contract talks with the Federal Aviation collapsed. And so as a result, 7,000 flights across the country were canceled on that day at the peak of summer travel. Wow. Okay. So I don't think they would do that these days because now it's a union, not the FAA. So the unions came into play now. So I don't know if that's going to work. But it says here, organizations sought an across the board annual wage increase of $10,000 for the controllers who pay range from $20,000 to $49,000 a year. So imagine that, that was, I don't know what that was purchasing back then, but I'd imagine it wasn't bad, especially nowadays. I ain't going to cut it now. That ain't going to cut it now, but let's talk. Let me get you on here. Yeah. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from?
I'm in the middle of Pennsylvania.
In the middle of Pennsylvania. What's your name, buddy?
Hey, my name is Paul.
Paul.
I'm a follower of you and Mario, and first-time caller.
Appreciate you, Paul. What's going on with you, my friend?
Hey, I was just listening to my radio show, and I thought of currency creation. While attending the Super Bowl this year, if you wanted nachos, you paid $60 for nachos and cheese.
Really?
And I thought that, oh gosh, when I heard that, I thought, make some more money. And then the second one was the box that the old Taylor Swifty and her buddies were in. The price tag on that was $2.5 million.
Ooh.
Is what supposed Travis Kelce paid for that.
Whew.
So, so when, I watch you and Mario regularly and, let them eat cake, I guess, for the rest of us, huh?
Yeah,
But
clearly, man, that's those some serious figures, man. But I mean, but some people got it like that. Or and I saw some people getting asked the question how much the tickets cost. Some said 8,000, 9,000. Some said 13,000. Some said I got it for free. So yeah, me personally, especially after finding out that the NFL is labeled as an entertainment industry, not a sports industry, and that all 32 teams fall under the window of entertainment, not sports. So that kind of definitely, changes the narrative for what people are watching. But then again, most people don't care anyway. So, but hey, man, I appreciate you calling.
all right, thanks, Mike.
Yeah, thank
Good
you.
job.
Be
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah, so a lot of people are questioning, like, knew it was rigged, but yet if it's labeled as entertainment, they have the right to control the outcomes because it's for profit, not necessarily for enjoyment and sports sake. But X says California passed a stimulus bill. Get out of here. Let me check this out. I knew they were. So it's probably the stimulus for the foreigners, though. I didn't know they were still doing a stimulus, and I'm having a hard time spelling. But I'm curious who got that check. Who got that check cut to them? California stimulus package. Let me see. Here's some information. Check eligibility. That is something else. California stimulus checks 2024. Low income. For low income, let me see here. So I just typed in this. This is what came up. California stimulus checks coming. When 2004 California gas inflation checks are coming. So assuming this is what you're talking about, X, let me know if it's something different. What we got here? Gas stimulus checks 2023. I'm sure they probably call it cost of living stimulus, but it doesn't surprise me one bit, man. California, man, you guys, my Cali people, Newsom, I guess going to go down in history as the best or the worst, governor ever, or there could have been more. I don't know, but it's like radical, extremely radical when they offer more love to foreigners than their own people. Like, but G come to town, they get things cleaned up and then they go back to normal. Very, very sad. But anyway, what else you got going on out here? Cartels, Dane, 27 flight attendant here. W8 Farms, 27-year flight attendant here. So I'm curious, W8 Farms, based upon this current strike that's starting or whatever, no doubt, the flight attendants and the rest of the staff that work in airlines deserve more and should get more. But I'm curious to get your thoughts, given the conditions the world is facing and our country's facing. Do you think it'll be beneficial in the end? Like, if they end up getting their demands met, more pay, greater retirement security, and better working conditions, do you think like that will help the longevity of their jobs in the long run? Because the way things are being set up, like, they don't mind letting people go after they get more bread. That's the unfortunate side. Rob B says, how does California print stimulus checks? I want to say a lot of states were sent funds. So a lot of states were sent funds during the whole health situation to keep things operational. That was a part of one of them stimulus bills because a lot of those funds went to unemployment, all that PPP and stuff like that. And so I know my state of Michigan, we had a surplus. And so they put out some news trying to figure out what to do with those funds. And our governor was trying to just, you can't keep it, you got to spend it. And so our governor was talking about, doing some stuff. I'm thinking in my mind, like, why don't you put that into some metals, build a depository, put it, you know what I'm saying? But, Whitmer, she's radical as they come. She's not doing nothing. But, all right. But it's one of the things where it'd been good that they get government funds from the federal government. That's a part of the ploy. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Mike, from Reason 9.
Steve, what's going on, my friend? Give me something quick.
Hey, Mike, I'm sure you and anybody listening to this broadcast has some type of family member in the military.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be immediate family or whatever, but you have some family member in the military.
Yeah.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay. We'll take it back to spiritual warfare again.
Yeah.
Go back to yesterday. If anyone hasn't watched Mike's show from yesterday, watch yesterday's show and listen to a caller call in and basically talk about my son's in the military.
Mm-hmm.
So caller calls in and says something about me and my son killing people. Go back and check the tape. Go back and check the tape. So this is what I'm saying about spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
When Satan has nothing to give, he'll just throw anything at the window. How crazy is that? That somebody would call in and say something like that.
Yeah, but okay, so I mean that's where, like, you know, I mean, of course you took that, you know, like, so I don't know if there's a shot been thrown. I don't know, but then again, like, let's bury that, move on. I get your point, but then again, like because I don't want this to become an ongoing thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Who says things like that? But that being said, I'm back to the spiritual part of this.
Yeah.
And the same caller also said that you can basically throw the Bible out. Basically throw the Bible out and you could just walk. You could just walk in the spirit. Well, how does one walk in the spirit without the book?
Hey, man. I hear you. And my response is like, and just as I mentioned, just being objective, like, want to just provide a microphone for people to be able to share their thoughts and ideas. Everybody got their own methodology for what they do or how they do it. I'm gonna leave it at that. Uh-huh. Correct.
So once again, I always go back to this.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention to what people are saying.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention to what they're saying.
Mm-hmm. Hey.
Don't be deceived by people. It's the biggest thing. But I would just say, people go back and listen to it and let it come out of the person's mouth themselves. and just I'll just leave it there.
Hey.
Let it come out of their own mouth.
As always, Steve, appreciate you, my man. Be good.
And before we leave,
yeah.
we got 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 9. The Lord is not slack concerning His promise, as some men
count slackness.
Some men count slackness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But to us, not willing that any should perish, but all should come to repentance. God doesn't want to see any of us perish.
100%.
I say that to the people who are doing Satan's bidding. God doesn't want you to perish.
Right.
God wants you to come around to Him. He doesn't want you to perish. I don't want you to perish.
100%, man. Hey, appreciate you, man. All right, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, man. So anyway, so I know where this can go, and I'm not taking it there. So people, can't we all just get along? But anyway, the goal today, as I mentioned, I'm trying to be more concise with mine. So that's all she wrote for tonight, my good people. Back at it tomorrow, same time, same place. But I'm shooting for that 30-minute mark, man. I'm trying to get as much as I can in, get as much calls as I can in, just because I think is more effective when we're able to all get involved in a more condensed time frame. So anyway, with that being the case, my good people, be blessed, be safe, and we back at it tomorrow. Stay prayed up, get your weight up, and enjoy life while you still got it. Peace.